DEI Spotlight. We are back. Another episode, February 1st today. So it is Black History Month. We had to go ladies first. It's only Coach Howard. We've been wanting to get you on. I take some ownership. We all do, but we got you on now, and we're excited to have it. And we're gonna lay the pink carpet out for you. How about that?
Yes, you see the pink, baby.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Kind of a little bit tired. You can hear it in the voice. It's that time of the year where you're getting ready for the February frenzy going into March. But I'm alive, well, and so I'm blessed.
Amen. Yeah. Let's talk about. We got to get straight to it. You were first on doing the Equality and Inclusion Night. We're so grateful for that. Tell us how that experience went and what it was like for your program.
Yeah, so we actually got our pins in right on time. So it was actually our kickoff into Black History Month. That last game that we play in January, we always kick off Black History Month a little early over here. So we try to expand this Black History Month, but the pins came in. My assistant got them out the mailbox, and it was perfect. It was our Black night against a really powerful opponent, and so it actually brought us some luck, to actually wear the DEI pin on our chest. All of our staff took part in it. All staff, our white coach and everything took part in it. Because it's all about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so it was a really great gesture for you guys to send those pins out. And so it was our honor to wear them and just kind of support the movement of trying to continue on this equality across the board.
Absolutely. Talk about, you do some things in your program. You can share a couple of them. One of them, you have the Freedom Fighter Player of the Game. Tell us about that. Where'd that come from, and what kind of goes into that?
Yeah, so the Freedom Fighter Player of the Game has multiple meanings. One of the meaning, of course, our mascot as the Eagles. Our mascot name is Freedom. But I thought it was really great because, about the true freedom fighters that we know historically. I thought, our player of the game is always someone who takes part in not just being the leading scorer or something like that, but who contributes to a victory, someone who helps us fight for a victory. And so we kind of just played off words with our mascot name. And then also I like the meaning behind just what the actual freedom fighter, what they stood for. And so that became the name of our player of the game, as our freedom fighter player of the game. And so whoever, helps us with that win that night is awarded that. So what we have is a big old eagle chain. It's a gold eagle chain, the gold boxing gloves that says freedom fighter on it. And it's just a cute little way to get the girls excited about, just wanting to help contribute to a win.
No doubt. Let's talk about, so that's a creative and innovative idea. Let's talk about the innovation in your program and you as a leader, and let's talk about the coach's swag, because it's not an everyday swag that you see with Coach Howard. So talk a little bit about that. We saw the post today that you said, I think it was I am Black History.
Yeah.
The social media, you always got some great stuff going. Talk a little bit about that in this day and age. Your own coach's swag on the sideline and what you do in your program.
Yeah, they always say you only live once. And so I actually was just going back and forth with Coach Yo on social media, and she commented on one of the pictures that they posted for our GATA drip, pictures of our coaching staff. And so when COVID hit, a lot of coaches wanted to kind of dress down. There wasn't fans in the stands. And so coaches went to wearing polos or quarter zips or whatever. And I said, we're still going to stay with our dress code. And that's to look, your Sunday's finest on the sideline, because as coaches, you dress like this all the time. You're in practice, you had your hair up, basketball cap on or whatever. But it's a game day. And so that's something that I've always enjoyed, is dressing up for game day, putting on my game day attire as a coach. When I played, I put on my game day attire as the jersey, the shooting shirt. As a coach, you got to come bring your best. You're asking your players to come bring your best. And so, I demand that of myself and my staff to bring your best. And it's fun. You get people involved in trying to see what you're wearing, who you're wearing. Sometimes the staff and myself, we wear the same colors just to kind of just be on the same page. But it is a swag thing. I did post today. I post different pictures and quotes just to kind of inspire people to think differently, especially women empowerment quotes. Today was, of course, Black History. But the quote I used was, they tried to burn her, not knowing that she was a flame. Like, you always try to think of the positive within the negatives. People tell you, no, you can't, or, women aren't good enough. But I always try to, be the opposite. You are more than enough. You're better. And so that's why we dress like we dress. And we kind of swag out everything that we do. Try to swag out everything we do.
Hey man, no, you definitely you set out for it and you accomplish it. I'd say 99% of the time. There may be 1.1% that maybe it doesn't happen, but yeah, my wife is a former head volleyball college coach. She's all about women's empowerment. We have 3 young ladies in our house, so we're all about the women's empowerment in this house.
Hands
So,
full.
oh yeah, it's surrounded. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing though. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah.
You touched on a couple of things. You touched on being female, women's empowerment. You touched on the Black History Month. Talk about those 2 things: being a Black female as a head coach, which there's not as many as there should be in women's basketball still.
Right.
I think there was only 12 new hires this offseason compared to, I think it was, I want to say in the 60s on the men's side.
Yeah.
So it was a big difference, and maybe not as many openings per se, but the percentage is still off.
Yeah.
So talk about what that's like for you, and then also just talk about what this month means. I know you said you started your celebration of Black History early, so talk about this month, and then talk about what that's like being a Black head coach on the female side.
Yeah, so that was definitely a loaded question. So that was a great question, but being a woman is hard. Being a woman of color is even more difficult because sadly we are at the bottom of the totem pole, especially in this male dominated industry. And so when you think back, as a player, I played for all male coaches. When I first got into coaching, all you saw was male head coaches. And so being a female athlete, growing up, at first you thought that was a norm. You thought the better coaches were male head coaches because that's who trained you, that's who taught you. But in becoming a coach myself, I realized that advantage of a female coaching female have for the younger generation, because you're able to inspire, people that look like you, not just in color, but in gender. A woman understands a woman a little bit differently than a male. And so, you're able to coach. That's why you got women coaches that are killing the game right now. But to be a woman of color in this industry, you kind of always got to be 2 steps ahead. I've been blessed to be the first African-American female coach at 3 of the institutions that I've led. And so I've always, challenged myself to be better because, one, I can be better. You got to be prepared for the moment, but you got to be able to do your job. And so I say that because if I don't do a good job, then they might not look at another woman of color for this position. If you look at Dawn Staley, for instance, she's killing the game. She's the highest paid female, period, in women's basketball. And so she's leading the way for people that look like us. And so it's inspiring for me to see her do it at such a high power or a high institute, a Power 5 institution, and know that we could do that. And so being a Black woman, you kind of got to lead the way. It's an honor. It's a privilege, but it's also challenging. And so you got to think outside the box because women can definitely do the job. And, I might be biased. I think women do the job better than men, but we're showing that. And so here at Georgia Southern, I was able to take a program that had been struggling and been at the bottom of our conference. And now we're elevating the respect of the program. And if more athletic directors give coaches, women of color, that chance, we can show you that we can get the job done. And so we definitely, I think the last time we checked last year, women of color was accounted for 2% of the head coaching population. And so that's not a lot. When you think about the rosters, you have a lot of African-American young girls that are playing this sport. And so they need to see more people that look like them in those seats. It's easy for a white male to get a job. And if a Black female does something and is let go, then they'll probably replace her with a white male or a white female. And sadly, that's just what it is. Sometimes we get stuck in that box of, well, maybe we should just coach at a HBCU, which I've done. But you don't want to be stuck in the box. There's nothing wrong with HBCU institutions. But we're just as good to not just coach at the Power 5 level, but in the WNBA, heck, in the NBA. You got men coaching women. Why can't more women coach men? Basketball is just that, basketball.
Amen. Amen. Well said. I love it. Talk about you mentioned something there. Talk about your story. You said you coached at HBCU. You obviously have gotten to this place in your career, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your journey. What made you want to get into coaching? Why do you love coaching, and how did you get where you are?
I love coaching as a ministry. Of course, I did play. I literally have gone through every single step, and so sometimes, as an older coach who's been coaching for a while, I just recently hired one of my former players. She kind of jumped steps. She went from being a high school coach, now she's a Division I assistant. But I wasn't fortunate to just jump up to being a Division I coach. I literally laid the foundation. I was a high school coach, a JV coach, an AAU coach. I moved up to being an assistant at the Division II level, as an associate head at Division II level. Then I was a Division III head coach, and then a Division II head coach, and then finally now I'm a Division I head coach. And so I literally have seen it at all different levels, and I appreciate that journey. I didn't skip steps. I put in the work, and I learned a lot along the way from different head coaches, from different institutions and stops, and it's made me the person I am. You can kind of see over my shoulder all those nets and stuff. It took a lot of hard work to get those, and so I wouldn't change my path or my journey for anything, because it's made me into who I am today. But I love every stop, because you're able to see the different athletes at a Division III level. They put more emphasis on the academic side. Like, they're literally athlete students. And so that was interesting from that perspective. At the Division two level, people always say, we don't have a lot of funding and scholarships, stuff like that, but you do. And there's a lot of great talented players at the Division II level, because you have a lot of people that transfer down, a lot of people that get looked over, that who could have gone Division I, but went Division II. And so then, of course, moving up to Division I, I thought it was going to be this different kind of world, but it really not. Basketball is literally basketball, no matter what division you have behind the word division I, II, or III. It's literally basketball. The thing I love about coaching is it's more of a ministry for me, because it's going to sound crazy now. I don't love basketball. I love the ministry that basketball allows me to disciple in, if that makes sense. To be able to mentor a young lady, to be able to see what this young lady turns out to be. You win some, you lose some, you can't save everybody, but there's so many great stories that every coach in America can talk about, how this person, matured right in front of their faces. And I think that's what you get. Most great coaches love the ministry behind their sport. Basketball now in this day and age, is a great platform for me to be talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. If I wasn't a woman of color, you might not be talking to me today. And so I'm able to talk about just what equality looks like across the board for women of color, so that more people will fill these seats that look like me, because we can get it done. And so the biggest part for me in my journey is the ability to have fun while doing it. And so the one thing that you're going to get from a Coach Howard program is we're going to have fun, and we're not going to take things too seriously, because I think that's where you lose your student athletes. I think you lose yourself when you put so much emphasis on what you're doing. And so that's why I am able to kind of take a step back and talk about things that are bigger than basketball, like diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Amen. Amen. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
I love that part of the story. I love that you've been in so many different places. I think it gives perspective. I think it allows you to be able to not take yourself too serious, because you've seen the other side where it's like, wait a minute, we barely had this, we barely had that. And now you have all these whistles. So the grind is nothing to you. And I think players appreciate it too. I think when you have fun with the chain and creative names like Freedom Fighter, and they see you having fun, I think it creates an energy and a culture within. So obviously competitively, we see all the memorabilia in the back, the nets, the balls, the trophies. We also know that you guys haven't lost very many games, but you haven't lost any game by 10 points or more.
Yeah.
So talk about the basketball part of the program. What's one thing you want people to know about the basketball part of what you're doing there at Georgia Southern?
Well, first I thank Georgia Southern for giving me an opportunity to come here. They took a chance on a Division II coach of color to come and try to change this program. Georgia Southern is a big football school, if no one knows. And so what we've been able to do within this athletics department has been nothing short of amazing. So we literally doubled the win percentage in year 2. And we've already won more games this year than we've won last year. And so our upward trajectory. This is year 3 for me. We've done a lot in a short amount of time. And so one of the things that I wanted to do, I'm an artist, so I like to paint, draw, sculpt, graphic design, anything creative. One of the reasons I took this job at Georgia Southern is because I wanted to go somewhere where it was a blank canvas. So there was no expectation. We literally were dead last. I wanted to put my own stamp on it. So we literally are building this culture, this program from the ground up. And so for us to have a winning record right now, to be respected in a really competitive Sunbelt conference, it speaks volumes for, what myself and my staff have been able to do in a short amount of time. And we've just literally raised the level of competition. I'm a big time defensive coach. I make up some words. And so one of the words I made up, Brian, is swarmification. It's a swarming and suffocating defense that we're to instill here at Georgia Southern. So we're in, I think, 10 or 12 categories, the top 10 in NCAA. Of those categories is like turnovers, forced, steals, rebounds. And so, points scored. Our offense is high octane. And so we're literally changing the face of this program. And so we're a mid-major conference. And so I always say we're not Power 5, but we're powerful. And so I want Georgia Southern one day to be able to compete with the UGAs, with the UConns, with the South Carolinas, as a mid-major program. And so that is my goal, to take something, because it's kind of like me, a woman of color. People always think we can't do it. People think Georgia Southern, we're mid-major, we can't. I want to prove them wrong. That's another swag kind of move, is I want to prove them wrong. I want to be the Walt Disney everyone thought was crazy, and now look at Walt Disney World now. People probably think I'm crazy, like y'all can't compete with South Carolina. Right now, we can't right now, but we're gonna try. And so that's kind of where I want to bring this program. And we've been blessed in 3 short years to go from the bottom to right now. We have a winning record. It's the first time in a long time that this program has been there.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about making new waves and creating new success stories. And my wife is always talking about, like, she likes to take things and where they are and leave them better than she found them. She likes to create winning success. I think that's what it's about. So I love it. Tip my hat, backwards hat. Keep up the great work. Let's tell a funny story, and then let's talk about the personal side. So tell us about the personal side that you're comfortable sharing, about your family or about you away from basketball. What is Coach Howard like away from basketball? And then just give us one funny story before we go.
Okay, well, first off, you talk about your wife. I got a husband. He's typically on my side coaching with me, but because Georgia's a nepotism state, I couldn't have him by my side. But he's actually a head coach at a junior college here at East Georgia State College, and so he's doing really well. And then we have 3 kids. So I got 2 boys, and then my girl's in the middle. And believe it or not, all taller than me and older than me. I'm just gonna say that. They're older than me. My kids are older than me, or they think they're older than me. My youngest is 20. Then our daughter's 22, and my oldest is 24. And so people always say, well, dang, you don't look like you can. But that's what I'm saying. Like some black don't crack, honey. So
right. It's a beautiful thing.
They all, my oldest graduated college. My daughter's about to graduate here in this year, and then my youngest is a sophomore. And so they're all doing really well. They're all athletes as well. 2 basketball players, 1 soccer player. But yeah, that's kind of my family. My mom is my biggest fan, and so it's funny when you talk about just the support and people who inspire you. My mom knows nothing about basketball. She didn't support me when I played in high school, college. She was working. Now that she's retired, she hasn't missed a game that I've coached in. She's literally my number one fan. And so
That's dope.
you talk about women supporting women. She has shown me what that actually looked like. I have 5 sisters and brothers, and so we come from a bigger family, and we support each other like no other. And so that I saw that from my mom, and so I live my life: God, family, then job, in that order. There's
Preach.
no going away from that plan. God, family, job, in that order. And so I let my staff know if there's something more important than this job, go handle it. Of course, we still got to get our job done, but it's
No
always
doubt.
going to be for the God, family, job, and that's kind of that work-life balance that I try to instill as a head coach, with not just my staff, but the players as well. And then, like I said, I'm an artist. I love to dance.
Let's go. Let's go. Now I haven't seen a dance on social yet. We haven't seen that. Is that coming? Is the TikTok coming?
Yeah, you know what? Because I've been trying to keep it, PG, but
Yeah.
talks. But yeah, I like to dance, so I dance on the sidelines and in practice and stuff like that. But I'll do a TikTok for you. I got you.
Yeah, we got to get that. We got to do it. You just tag us on that. Let's see that.
Okay, I've got one on there that I do with the players, but I haven't done one in a while, so I'm not huge on TikTok. So I gotta get into that. But I love to dance. I sing in the shower. It sounds really good in the shower.
Yeah.
And if I've always a coach, and I'll probably try to be an actress. I try to be
Okay. Now who's your actress that you would try to be like? Are you in the this category over here, or is there one that you're like, okay, if I was an actress, I'd be like her?
I'll probably be like Taraji.
Okay. I was gonna mention that name. I didn't know, so that I was on point then.
I mean, I'm nowhere near as good as her, but she just resonates with I feel like she's genuinely her. Who she is on camera is who she is off camera. And so never met her, so I don't know if that's the case or not, but I would want to be able to be myself on camera. So yeah. Sometimes actors and actresses are bad on camera, so I don't know if I would be a bad actress. So
yeah, you'd be great. You'd be great.
Thank you. I appreciate the moral support.
Yeah, just be you. That's all you need. All right. So speaking of being you, there was one funny story because I know you got one.
When you said that, I was just thinking of a funny story. I can't think of. I'm not.
Or a funny moment in the program. You guys have fun in the program, so you can tell us a funny story either when you were younger in your career, you did something that you can look back and laugh now. I'm sure you got those.
I do, but actually, it's not me. It's when I was a player. So
okay, even better.
I've been coached by some great coaches, right? And so HBCU coach, he's the all-time winningest HBCU coach at Fort Valley State, Lonnie Bartley. I played for Lonnie, and I'm saying Lonnie, if he ever saw this, he would kill me. So actually, one of the stories is first-time head coach at Salem College. I was the first-time head coach at Salem College. He came to support me as my former college coach. We won the game, got him back in the locker room, and I introduced him as, Lonnie to my team.
Oh, that was trouble. That was trouble.
So I wasn't thinking, I'm thinking I'm a coach now, so I'm introducing my coach, and I said, hey, this is Lonnie. And he, looked at me. He called me by my maiden name, ANITA Griffin. He's like, give me 5. And I said, I'm in front of my team, coach. I'm not about to give you 5 right now. I'm a grown woman. I'm not about to do that. He meant it. And so it was the stare and so my whole team was laughing and pointing, like, give him 5 push-ups, coach. And so
you had to do it.
In heels, a suit. I got down in the nasty behind locker room, gave him 5 push-ups, and he was like, don't you ever call me Lonnie. I'm Coach Bartley to the day you die. And I was like, all right, you got it. But he is a funny dude. It's another story. I forgot time. So
yeah, we got time.
I've always been a leader. I've been a captain. As a point guard, you're the leader on the floor. And so I remember we practiced it felt like 9 hours is what it felt like. And I was like, everyone was complaining about us practicing, and we was like, we're gonna turn our coach in. He doing us wrong. So I was like, well, I'm going to speak up on behalf of the team. And I said, Coach Bartley, we're just a little fatigued. And so he said, ANITA Griffin, you fatigued? And so I'm turning around and looking at my team like, yeah, we're fatigued. And so everybody's Nah, we not fatigued, coach. We not. And so they left me out to dry.
All the way.
So he made us run even more. And so we got back in the locker room. I was like, why y'all didn't? He was like, no, we didn't want you to tell him. We was just saying it. And so we recently all just met up. One of our teammates passed, and it was at her memorial service. And we brought up a story about the fatigue, and we was like, you was the only one that spoke up that you were fatigued. It was funny at the time, but after that, I stopped speaking up on behalf of the team.
Lesson learned. Now, what about your players? Do they speak up on behalf of the team and band together, or?
Yeah, well, this generation is a little bit different. They are a little more entitled. They don't know when to not say nothing, and so we definitely have some players that speak up when they probably don't need to speak up. But I do allow for that interactive dialogue between, because I am a players coach, and so I understand what they're probably already feeling before they say it. But I try to encourage them to. You got to be able to advocate for yourself, and so I do open a dialogue. They think I never listen to them. But I tell them I do, but I'm always trying to push them to be better, to be greater. And so we do allow for that open dialogue.
I love it. I love it. All right, last one. So advice for a young, up-and-coming female head coach, whether she's black, white, brown, purple, green, female head coach, advice for her coming up in this game or just coming up in whatever profession she's in.
Yeah, so I always tell our young ladies is know your worth and add tax. And so you always got to be able to ask for what you want and not, be worried about, if you can, if you should. Always ask for what you want, know your worth, be willing to work for it. And so a lot of young ladies that I meet, they always say, I don't know if I'm ready to be an assistant coach. I don't know if I'm ready to be a head coach. You're never ready until you're ready. And so you never know that unless you're brave enough to step into that role. And so sometimes women always put themselves down before they're even put down by somebody else. And so stop putting yourself down. Know that you can do it. Know that you should do it. And always be prepared for the moment. One quote we always say is stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And so I'm always ready for my next opportunity, whether it's a win, whether it's a position, whether it's signing a big recruit. You're supposed to be exactly where you're supposed to be. And only you know that.
Love it. Love it. Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time today. We know you're over there getting the dubs at Georgia Southern, so we appreciate the equality and inclusion night as well, leading the way on that. And we appreciate all the fun that you're providing from your vantage point and your social media handle as well. And we just appreciate you taking the time to give a spotlight to yourself who deserves it.
No problem. Thank you for doing this. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and we look forward to that dancing video. We're going to be on the lookout for that.
I got you.
We want to see it. Well, thank you again.